Hi. So in this video, we're going to go a little bit in depth, right? You probably saw a short one where I explain how you can leverage these things to actually combine types in TypeScript. Now, the idea here is, how do you implement this? How would you implement partial and pitch? It is pretty easy. In a way, you can just click on partial and then you see the implementation, right? If I go here, I see the implementation, but I would like to walk you through that and so you understand what is happening right there. So we're gonna start with partial, and let's call that here, instead of partial, we're gonna call it my partial. Okay, type my partial. As we can see here, my partial takes one argument, right? So that's basically what is happening here. The way I like to think about it is basically to say, hey, we have a function my partial, and that function there takes just an object. That's basically it, right? And I'm just gonna, for now, just return null here, and then let it be this way, right? So we gotta pass a type T here, and like this, you see there is basically a type, right? That's basically the idea. And then we're gonna say, hey, the type you're passing me right there, I would like to do something with it. I would like to loop through it, through each property of it, and make them partial. So partial in TypeScript means you put, like, how you make something partial, or it's basically, you say that you put that question mark right in front, right? So if I go right here and I say title is partial, I will just put a question mark in front of title. But okay, that one here doesn't really work. I have to go all the way up here. And this will make title partial, like optional in a way. So the way you will do that is literally how a Copilot is suggesting right there. We say, hey, we're gonna have a key, and then the keys in T, we just want to make sure that that key there, you see, the secret is that one, that question mark right there. If that thing isn't there, well, that doesn't work. It's just identity, right? So that will be it. What I mean by identity, some people ask me like, hey, what do you mean by identity? Well, identity means that you just loop through the same, you copy an object and you basically get the same object at the end. Here, it's not the same thing. By putting that question mark right there, you're actually moving from one to the other. And the same thing actually applies to required, right? So you have the partial that will make things optional, but you also have required that will reverse the scenario right there. So how would you do so? If we go all the way down here, we're going to have a simple, let's say, type user, and then that user has a name, right? And that name is optional, but we all know that the username is often required. So what you will do here is to say, hey, I'm just gonna create a user and say you're of type user, and that right there, it doesn't complain. But if you go here and say, I want this to be required, right? It will now complain that, hey, I want name. Right, I'm just gonna give it that name right there. But now what is happening here is, if I go ahead and implement my require, you're just gonna see that it says, okay, my required like this. So we're just gonna give it a property like this, and it's actually going to be just like we saw at the top. We saw my partial right there. It's the same idea. We just have to reverse that implementation right there. So I'm just gonna go and say, hey, that thing is required, and the way you will do it is to just use that minus in front of the question mark. Okay, it's the weird syntax, but actually it's a way to say, like, make this property into a required property because they're optional. If they're optional, they will force them into required, and if they're already required, it will just ignore them, right? So that's basically it. And then I already made a video where I explain how you will do my pitch, which is basically this one there. It's a little bit involved. Check that out, and you will see how type programming could be a really, really good tool in your TypeScript journey. And if you want to do these kind of exercises, you want to learn from these kind of exercises, you can go on Hackages platform, and we have tons of content there for you, from beginner TypeScript to really, really advanced, including rewriting type like this. So see you on the next video. You take care. Bye.